The other day we got this beautiful Gladiator in the shop in order to install one of our clutches and perform some more testing. Now, in previous tests, these were all done on either new vehicles or low mileage, like 20,000 miles. Even at 20,000 miles though, we saw a big difference on the way the clutch felt. When you can see the pedal graphs at 20,000 miles, there's just a lot of friction, and on the return stroke it's just really weak. So we wanted to kind of learn more about that. Now this vehicle has 62,000 miles on it. So we thought, okay, let's see see if it's any worse, and see if we can make some improvements on it, and where you make those improvements. So at 62,000 miles on it, we wanted to see what the clutch looks like, what the operating system looks like, where there's wear points. And anyway, so we first, before we took it apart, we wanted to test it as is, so as a baseline. This would be like a pedal test. So we took our pedal tester and we cycled it. Now you can see this helper spring or assist spring. It really pushes a lot down here. It's about 6 pounds, but when you're talking such light pedal loads, that's a lot. That's a big percentage. So we tested it as is, and then we tested it with a lighter spring that we've spec'd out. Wanted to see how that worked, and it made a big difference. Then we said, okay, let's lubricate this mechanism here to see if that would change anything, because it does rock on a couple pins. Maybe there's friction there. Yeah, it didn't do anything. So putting grease on there didn't do anything, but putting the lighter spring really did. Now you can see this thing really slaps down. Now there's a rubber stop missing on this pedal assembly. I guess eBay, it's not included if you get it from eBay. So anyway, to change it, I just pulled it out. To change it's really easy. You make sure the pedal's at the floor and you just pull it towards you. Now you got to be a contortionist in order to get to it, but it's really easy to take out, and it's even easier to put in the lighter spring. The spring just comes off, put the lighter spring on there, reassemble. Now there's two orientations, so you got to get it right. I got it wrong. Let's see, come on. There it is. And you slip it into place. Now you can see the lighter spring still returns the pedal up to the top, which is important because it has to self-adjust, or it has to lift the pedal all the way up in order for the hydraulics to function properly. But at the bottom, where we're seeing really light loads, it doesn't interfere near as much as the factory spring does. So that really was seemed to make a big difference. After we did that, we said, okay, let's pull the transmission out and lubricate the arm. So we lubricated the critical points inside the release bearing, and that really made a big difference too. But who wants to pull a transmission? But if you really want the ultimate in feel, yeah, pull the transmission and put grease on the arm, put it back together again, which is exactly what we did. But yeah, so we stabbed the transmission back in, did the pedal tests, both springs, graphed that, and then we went ahead and pulled it apart and put our clutch in there. Now with our clutch, you can use the factory spring. The reason the stock spring is, part of the reason why the stock, this assist spring is there in the first place, is to compensate for the over center effect of the self-adjusting pressure plate. A self-adjusting pressure plate has a lot over center effect. You'll feel it where it's a lot heavier kind of mid-stroke, and then it gets really light at the floor. And what this assist spring does is it kind of flattens that out a little bit. But the problem is it interferes too much at the bottom, and really it interferes with the feel. It doesn't feel natural. So putting a lighter spring on there, it may feel a little peakier, but it will, you'll feel something coming back where, 1 pound or 2 pounds that we're seeing on these used vehicles is nothing. You just can't feel that at all. So by putting this spring, it increases that load. And of course we'll show, I'm sure I'm gonna have the graphs attached to this video as well, so you can look at those and study them. But I think it's worth it if you have a stock vehicle. I know it's not going to help me sell my clutches, but the weaker spring will really help the feel of the stock clutch. And I'd like you to try them out. Then if that's not enough, get our clutch. Then you'll really get some feel. With our clutch, you can use the stock spring because we don't have that drastic over center effect that a self-adjusting clutch has. So thanks for watching.